Hello, I'm Robert Van Russingen with Naturally Noble. We're going to continue with our series on growing a garden for health with our emphasis on zinc through plant uptake. If you've watched the two prior videos, I showed you how to make a soil amendment. Just a quick review. 10 roofing pennies, cold zinc galvanized, not hot dipped, but cold zinc galvanized. These are from Home Depot. Natural vinegar. Just cover them up with vinegar. After 6 hours of sitting in the vinegar, you're then ready to pour that into a sawdust. We sprinkle that amendment onto the flat prior to, or if you're using just garden soil, you can just blend it in with the soil. This is nice and dry. I let it dry for a while. So we're using the Burpee seed starters. I buy them in bulk. I also buy the Jiffy seed starters in bulk. The Burpees had 10 times the amount of zinc over the Jiffies, and for that reason, we prefer you using this. The more zinc we can get in these times, the better. I've read comments on the Burpees that they fall apart easier, the mesh on them, but I've also seen when I use the Jiffies, even late into the season, that mesh hasn't degraded enough and it causes the root system to bind. So this will take a little bit for this to expand before we can start planting seeds. Let me explain a little bit what we're doing. Our intention is to actually grow radishes in your house. If you have 28 days of growing cycle on a radish, you can consume 1 row a day and then plant 1 row a day and run through a cycle. Our intention is to measure that amount of zinc that we're seeing in the radishes. Our previous tests through Naturally Noble, our food company, is we can achieve such a high amount of mineral uptake into the radish that we're pretty confident that we should be able to achieve the daily recommended amount in 5 or 6 radishes a day. So you would harvest 6, plant 6, and do that every day, and you should have your levels of zinc through a bioavailable form. So you can see the expansion on this is, might have to add a little bit more water. We want all these to be puffed up just like a marshmallow. We're going to spread out the zinc amendment a little bit. The zinc is wicked into the sawdust with the intent of giving it a slower release over time. This amount of zinc should be sufficient for at least 4 rotations of harvest, and then just make another solution of zinc and add it to it at that time. Don't overdo these. You can there's only a certain amount of uptake that a plant's capable of absorbing. We could end up with a zinc level that's too toxic for the plant if we're going too aggressive. Now once again, don't do both. 2 trays should be enough for 1 person. Don't do both trays at the same time. This was done about a week ago. You can see that a lot of them have sprouted to the 2-leaf stage. I've got a little bit further to go where I feel more comfortable on putting topsoil on top of it. But I'll give you an idea of what we're going to do. I'm using the Burpee topsoil. I just happen to see the value that they put into their pods. I don't expect, and I haven't tested this, but because it's an organic certification, I doubt if they added any zinc to it to the level that they've added to this product. So what we're going to do on the topsoil is we're going to sprinkle it in level and fill in all the gaps in between the peat pods. And because I'm not completely happy with how many have germinated and how many haven't, most of that's due to the quality of my seed that I had. I actually used some packages of seed that I bought 2 years ago for this. And the germination rate wasn't as perfect as I like. I'll go back in and plant new seeds into the pods that haven't sprouted today. But this is just to give you an idea of what we're looking at for a growing tray. For the garden. Now this can sit in front of a window on a table. I actually have a grow light set up that I will be showing you later. You can set that grow light up almost anywhere in your house. If you don't have the proper grow lights, even fluorescent tubes are sufficient enough for the plants. On a nicer day, if you can set it outside or if you have a patio. I'm mainly speaking to the people that might be in just an apartment dwelling and they don't even have a patio deck where it might just be a window or minimum space. This is a very effective way to achieve zinc levels through a food. The other foods that are easily uptake zinc are peas and lettuce, and we strongly recommend growing as many different foods as you can. Same thing with when you start the peas. If you do the same way, use the same soil amendments, then take the pods and transplant into another planter for the peas to climb on. If in an apartment, if you just have a hanging plant, the ability to hang plants from the ceiling. Peas are very decorative. They fill out nicely. You can get peas with different colored blossoms. During this coronavirus, whatever seeds you can get your hands on, you should. Be sure to buy enough seeds to make it through the summer. I think about 3 packets per person should be sufficient. And to plant the seeds, it's just a matter of inserting them into each pod, 1 seed per pod. I typically use tweezers, but today, since I'm doing the video, I didn't get everything set up. When you see these pods and you see something like this where they're growing, you want to open that up so that plant doesn't get hung up inside the felt. We want the root system to be down in the felt, but the sprout to come up through the felt. That's what we've seen with any of these is we have that problem with the plant being bound inside the mesh. Well, I'm not going to bore you with watching me plant this, but I'd like to talk a little bit about the coronavirus and my hypothesis as to why we're seeing a higher rate of complications in people in New York versus California. I think a lot of it has to do with the produce. Hydroponics is what's taken over the market in most market areas. California, not so much. In California, if you look at the USGS, you see a zinc deposit in the Central Valley there, where a lot of produce is grown. Hydroponics has absolutely no way of delivering this intensity. Well, it probably could, but the problem is they don't get paid for adding value to plants. And if you're certified organic, you can't just add things to plants. Organics, this would be a chemical process in organics that would invalidate the organic certification. Plant uptake on minerals, organic hydroponic plants can give you vitamins, but plants can't make minerals. The minerals have to come from the ground. And if we've overplanted and not put these minerals back in the ground, the amount of minerals is just depleting. It's like, mining the same mine shaft or the same tailings piles over and over again. Eventually you get to, a zero return. The same one with planting in fields. Even if you had a good zinc levels, 20 years ago, every year that you've taken off zinc, and if you haven't put it back into the fields, the plants are deficient. The Dr. James Duke database, if you look at the chemical activities of zinc, once again, antiviral is listed there. There's question mark behind it, but I believe now, after seeing how the coronavirus has been impacted by zinc levels, I think it's safe to say that there isn't a doubt zinc boosts the immune system. The whole intent of what I'm trying to educate people and stay focused on the zinc, and not trying to push my products, just trying to teach you how to do this, is that we have minimal impact on your health effects when you're exposed to this virus. Another example of zinc deficiencies that we're hearing with this virus is affecting diabetes. Well, zinc plays an important role in reducing blood sugar. And if your zinc is bound up fighting the virus, there will be nothing left for the blood sugar. Zinc also affects your taste buds and taste of smell. One of the symptoms is the lack of taste and the lack of smell, meaning that it's complexed all of your zinc again, and it's using that to fight the virus, and there's not enough in reserve. So you're seeing the symptoms right away of a zinc deficiency when exposed to the virus. These are my own hypothesis. It will be proven over time, but right now, bioavailable zinc, I can't say enough about it. This is the time to grow a garden, grow it with intensity. Push this zinc as far as you can into your plants. What I'll be doing for you through this type of testing and through our videos is I have the lab equipment to measure the zinc content. If you're following my recipes, the measurements that you're going to see are from these plants that we're growing, and if you're growing it the same way, will give you some assurance of the amount of zinc that you're getting through foods every day.